We're often told in life to be the change you want to see. I've noticed how I don't exactly know what that change looks like for me. I will often talk with my friend, and when they express their woes, I don't really have anything to say. I just want them to feel heard. And so oftentimes I will backpedal on what I have to say, and I'll just really actively listen to what they want and what they want to express. Because sometimes overpowering somebody in a conversation isn't going to help them, and giving them advice isn't even what they want to hear. They don't want you to solve their problem for them. They just want you to listen. And if I could say that if there's any change that I want to see in the world, is that I want people to be more kind to each other. And I know that's an extremely naive request, right? There's so many things that tear people apart, relationship-wise, and people get into arguments, people get into debates, people argue over things, they go to war over things. I just don't like politics. I don't like religious debates. I don't like getting into any form of conflict in regards to that. And I just like to take a backseat and kind of observe in those situations, because it's just not my field of expertise. And whenever I engage in that kind of conflict, I end up looking like somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. And it makes me feel very unheard. And I like to talk about things one-on-one, because when I talk in groups like this, there's always going to be somebody who plays devil's advocate. For example, I was a part of a group of friends who tried to convince me that the ocean was a soup. And the ocean is obviously not a soup. And I could list like 5 different reasons why, because I had to form arguments against why they thought it was that. And we'd just go back and forth. I'd say, like, the soup needs to be in a container. The soup needs to be able to be cooked. The soup needs to be able to be edible. The food in it needs to be consumable. It needs to be typically a little bit warm, and it needs to be designed as something that you can eat. And a lot of people will say, well, the ocean, it has a container, that's the earth. And they would say, well, you can technically drink the ocean. And I'd say it's not safe to drink. And they'd say, well, there's technically fish in it. You could eat the fish. And it's like, I don't know. It just infuriates me, that conversation does, because it doesn't take you anywhere. And it's just conflict for the sake of conflict, right? And I just hate it when people do that. And I don't use that word lightly, but I hate conflict for the sake of conflict. That's just stupid. And I don't know, call me a peacemaker, but I don't like it when people do that, because nobody's getting anything from it. I understand conflict that has a clear resolution, but conflict just for the sake of arguing, nobody learns anything from that, and it's not productive. So why am I engaging in that, And I'm sorry, I got a little passionate. It's just, if there's change that you want to see, there are people that oppose me on that. There are some people that really just don't want people to care about each other. And it will always be that way. There will always be moments when I want to create a kind, nurturing environment, there's going to be somebody who comes in and they're going to try and rain on that parade. There's always that 1%. And that's why it's hard to dream, because you know that there's going to be that small percentage of people that are just going to rain on your parade. And they'll tell me, people who in my life will just say, oh, just ignore that. Maybe they're having a bad day. You don't know what they're going through. And maybe they are, but I don't think all people are having a bad day. I think some people really do just want to cause problems. And I don't want to foster or promote that. And when I think about change, I think about how cruel the world can be and how things are already hard as it is. I don't want to pile problems upon problems. If somebody wants to do that in their own life, fine. Like, ruin your life. I don't care. But I do care that I want to foster and help people. And if you're ready for that, if you're ready to hear what I have to say, all right. You know, I'll gladly accept you. It's just, I have a hard time when it comes to people who just love to create problems. And I'm acknowledging that because it can be really difficult to face that constantly. And it is shoved in my face a lot. And I'm glad that I've grown enough to not, frankly, crash out on them. Because some people, they just get under my skin. And I really, really want to help. But you can't help somebody that doesn't want it. You know, you can't. So be the change you want to see. Some people don't want to change. That's just the reality of it, you know.